report. The Secretary has a pretty tight schedule, but he has graciously agreed to take a couple of questions, and we have a mic, I think, set up right in the middle there. So if you have a question for the Secretary, if you would go to the mic, and I can't see if someone's there. Yes? Okay, please ask your question.
Mr. Secretary, thank you so much for being here. It's an honor. My name is Seth Andrew from Democracy Prep Charter School, the highest performing charter school in Central Harlem, on the Chancellor's Progress Report, and we're eager to expand and to try the turnaround model, so thank you for the challenge. Our challenge actually is not only in New York, but is also in Rhode Island, and we would love your support in Rhode Island and states across the country for calling the elected officials and letting them know that they jeopardize their stimulus funding if they don't make real change right now in legislatures like they did in Tennessee. So your political leadership right now means more than you know, and the calls to speakers of the House, majority leaders, people all over the country can make a huge difference. So I hope you'll call Rhode Island today and states all across the country to make a big difference. Thank you so much.
I appreciate so much your leadership and your willingness to think about this turnaround model. And we are fighting this on a state-by-state battle. That's where that's the battleground. And places like Rhode Island that are thinking about underfunding charters are obviously going to put themselves at a huge competitive disadvantage going forward. So we don't think that's a smart thing for them to do, and we're going to make that very, very clear.
Mr. Secretary, no question, just a comment. I know that we're all supposed to be future-oriented and looking toward the future. However, I'm here to thank you for your work in Chicago, particularly with the charter school movement, particularly your support of UNO. I am presently the Director of Academic Affairs at the UNO Charter School Network. Very happy, very honored to be there, but have a whole lot of my experience working under you at the Chicago Public Schools. I want to thank you and the mayor for your support of charters in Chicago and want to assure you that we will continue. I know that the country will benefit from your leadership and your experience in Chicago. I also want to do a sidebar. I call your attention today to the front page of the Chicago Tribune, which has an article on the UNO Charter School Network. Thank you.
Sister Barbara is one of my heroes from home. Great to see you again. Thanks for all the hard work.
Good morning, Mr. Secretary. My name is Mark Willis, and I'm with Omni Schools, a proposed CMO in Memphis, Tennessee. And I'm so grateful for your work on the movement of the legislation as we hope to benefit from it, the cap increasing. And my question is, you mentioned $52 billion in the FY11 budget. And I guess I'm just the question is around specifically facilities as we expand and scale up. That continues to be a challenge, and so how does that fit into future budgets? Thank you.
That's a real challenge, and I wish it was $52 billion for charges, $52 million in additional money in the FY10 budget. The overall budget is closer to $52 billion. But charters is a real issue. We want to help on that, and again, that's part of my interest in this turnaround model, because obviously by definition, when we turn around school, you get the building. And so we recognize in many places, including Chicago, facilities were a real challenge. And we want to think about not just budgetarily, but strategically how we make more facilities available. And this turnaround model gives a very clear direction and clear opportunity to get in the door.
Mr. Secretary, Frida Deskin from Oklahoma City's Advanced Science and Technology Education Charter School. I would echo the facilities and say that we're paying $900,000 a year for rent, and it is a killer. But the question that I had is regarding the monies that do come down. How are charters, or how are we ensuring that charters actually, the money actually gets down to the charters? That's a big concern and an issue for us.
And again, we have to watch that very closely. As I said, charters are public schools. There are kids. There are our money accountable to us. So charter schools should be funded like every other school. And where states are playing games or underfunding charters or doing whatever, we're going to come down like a ton of bricks on that. So we're going to watch that very closely. I'll do one more. Last one. I have to
John Dodd, Dallas, Texas Honors Academy, and this is a quick question. We appreciate your courage as a Democrat, and I'm a Republican, but I appreciate you taking the lead. But we need help in Texas with the teachers associations, and I'm sure everybody else in the nation needs it. How can you get them to come along with this great idea of charter schools?
I think I'll just close on this, that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. And I think what I'm pushing is that we all have to move outside our comfort zones. And let me just take 1 minute and close on this, that we're absolutely going to challenge unions to think differently, behave differently. I'm asking the charter movement to think differently and behave differently and really think about this accountability piece. I would also say, as much as I'm going to push other people, I'm going to look in the mirror and be very self-critical. And I will tell you that historically, the Department of Education, I think, was part of the problem as well. And I've always joked, but sort of meant seriously, when the Department of Education used to call me in Chicago, that was not a call I looked forward to. That was a call about a compliance report or an audit or something like that. And so our challenge internally is, can we become not this big compliance-driven bureaucracy, but can we become the engine of innovation and scale up what works and takes to scale best practices? And so we're going to push the charter movement, we're going to push the unions, but I promise you, we're going to push ourselves harder than we're pushing anyone else. Collectively, we all have to behave differently. We have to behave differently together, and we have to move outside our comfort zones. That's the only way we're going to get where we need to go as a country. Thank you so much for your hard work. Thank you for your commitment. Thanks for having me this morning.